Do you know why eggs never tell jokes? They're worried they're going to crack themselves up. Another great dad joke. Hey guys, I'm Matthew Pfeiffer. It's a new year. I've got my new blazer on, so I wanted to give you 20 tips for buying and selling real estate in the year 2020. Before I get started, if you like this type of content, please hit the like and subscribe button right here, guys. It really helps me out. Also, if you have questions or comments, throw them in the comment section below. This helps give me ideas as well as questions that I can answer for future videos. So thanks guys very much. This list that I'm gonna do, guys, though, it's in no particular order. These are just 20 tips for the year 2020 to help you buy and sell real estate. So number one is interview an agent before you buy or sell a house. Now I've done a couple of different videos on this, but it's really important, guys. You wanna find the right person that's gonna help suit your needs. Maybe the best agent in your market isn't the right person for you if they don't communicate in your style. So find that agent that's gonna fit your style the best of what you want and what your expectations are. So interview an agent, that's tip number one. Tip number two, don't try and time the market. It's almost impossible to do so. Anybody who tells you they can tell you exactly when to buy or sell, I just don't believe in that. You should buy or sell real estate when it's the best time for you, when it makes the most sense for your situation. Okay, that's the best time to buy a house, when it's best for you. Number three here, don't let the interest rate when you're buying a house be the be all and end all. Interest rates, yes, those are very important. You want to get a good interest rate, but you also want some flexibility in mortgage. You don't have to pay it out early. You want to be able to move that mortgage or break that mortgage if you get transferred from moving or buying a new house. So that can be just as important and sometimes save you more money, the ability to get out of that mortgage more than a cheaper interest rate. So don't just focus on the interest rate. Number four, when you're selling your house and you've got showings, you want to set the buying mood for those buyers when they come in the house. So you want to have things like the lights on, maybe some music playing, have the house, of course, tidied up. I did an entire video on how to sell a house quicker by using some tips to help stage and present that house for those showings. You can click that right there and check those videos out. So again, set that mood when you have showings. Make sure they stay focused on the buying process and not looking at other things that are distracting them. Number five, this is really applicable to a market like mine in Regina, Saskatchewan, where we're more of a buyer's market. So when you're selling your house, you want to price that house so that you're selling your house and not your neighbor's house. You don't want to be the highest priced house in the neighborhood or of the comparable houses that buyers can look at, because they're probably just going to buy your neighbor's house instead of yours. So price and position yourself in that market so you're selling your house and not your neighbor's. Number six, this is applicable to buyers. Set the conditions, okay? And so what I mean by that is when you're making an offer on a property, you're gonna have conditions to that offer, be it home inspection, sewer inspection, financing, things like that. Protect yourself with these conditions, guys. This is saying you buy the property as long as it satisfies those conditions. And if it doesn't satisfy those conditions, walk away from that offer, walk away from that property. Make sure that you are 100% satisfied when buying this property. This is probably the biggest investment you may ever make in your life. Make sure you're happy with it. Number seven, build the team around you. This applies to buying and selling, but let's just talk buying right now. You obviously want to have a good real estate agent. That's very important. But also, you're going to need a good lawyer, a good mortgage broker, and a good home inspector. Those are some critical pieces to helping you buy a house and to help get you probably the best deal you can get on a house, because the agent's going to find a great house. The mortgage broker is going to make sure you got the best financing options available. The home inspector is going to pick it apart top to bottom, make sure there's no serious defects or defects that you can't address. And of course, the lawyer is going to make sure everything gets transferred on time and to where it's supposed to be. So that's a big component, is build that team around you. That's going to help you actually get probably the best possible buy in a house when you're buying. Number eight, don't be afraid to walk away. If it's not the right deal, this process isn't coming together, you're trying to buy a place or you're trying to sell a place, and this isn't coming together the way it should, something doesn't feel right, whatever it may be, don't be afraid to walk away from that deal. Never be so invested that you can't pull away and say, no, this isn't the right thing for me. Number 10 here, skip number 9. Number 10, no house is the forever house. So why do I say that? I mean, it sounds silly. People say, oh, I'm going to buy my forever house. Well, if you're buying a house, especially if you're a first or a second time buyer, you're probably only going to be in that house for 5 to 7 years. In fact, in North America, so Canada and the United States, you've got about an average home ownership rate of 11 years. That's all it is. People are only in houses for 11 years before they're moving on to the next one. When you buy a house, you're going to have to sell it at some point. So buying a house is important, as you want to make sure you get a property that you can sell when you have to sell in the future. So you're going to be thinking about those things a little bit when you're buying a house. Number 11, know all the costs. This is something that's really important, and I find a lot of times buyers get surprised by. What are the closing costs? Ask your agent right up front. What are the closing costs? Talk with your lawyer. Hey, how much does it cost to buy or sell this property? You want to know what the home inspector or oral inspections are going to cost you. Get those all as a detailed breakdown of what it's going to be, so you know you have all that money ready to go and you don't get surprised with all of a sudden a bill coming up and you weren't prepared for that. Number 12, don't stress out. Buying and selling real estate, it's emotional and it can get stressful. That's okay. That's normal, but try your best not to stress out. There's no problem you can't make worse. That was a saying a friend of mine said once. There's also no problem that's not solvable. So don't stress out if something goes sideways. Things are going to happen in a deal. That's okay. Don't stress out. Don't freak out. Have that team around you help solve that problem for you. Number 13, this is really important for selling a house. Photos are the biggest, most important thing you can do to help sell your property. That is where people are going to get first exposed to your house. They're going to be looking on the internet, they're going to be flipping through photos, and that's what they're going to see first. That's the first impression of the house. As much as you can make it look good, if you can't even get to the house because the photos aren't very good, almost everything else you do doesn't really matter. So make sure those photos show well, look well. If you're showing a house in the middle of winter, have summer photos as well. Show that beautiful backyard, all that landscaping you did. Photos are very important. Number 14, don't be afraid to be aggressive. Okay, so I just said don't be afraid to walk away. What do you mean by don't be afraid to be aggressive? Again, this is very particular to buying a house. If you've been looking at houses and you find one, you go, oh my God, this fits everything I need. It's priced right. It's in the neighborhood I want. It's got the features I want. Guess what? Somebody else probably thinks the same about that property as well. If you've been looking at houses and you find one that fits that criteria, that big list of places or a big list of wants and needs that you've got, don't be afraid to just go out and buy it. Go get that house. I have so many times I've had buyers where they find a house, it fits their needs, they hum and haw about for a little bit, they think about it, and somebody else buys the house. You never want to be looking back going, crap, I should have bought that house. So don't be afraid to be aggressive if it's the right house. That being said, don't be afraid to walk away if it's not the right deal. Number 15, be focused when you're viewing a house. I have this problem often with buyers is they see something like family photos up or something cool hanging on the wall, be it a photo, something like that. Buyers can easily get distracted. So sellers, this is where we talk about making sure your house is staged and ready to keep them focused. But buyers, you should be thinking when you're going through that house all the time, do I see myself living here? Does this fit my needs? Always be going back into that frame of reference. As much as you may want to know if you know that person or be looking at the things on the wall, that's not helping you stay focused on terms of, does this house fit what I need when I'm buying a house? Number 16, this is for sellers. Fix and finish those odd jobs around the house. So when a buyer comes through, they're going to start making lists of things that they're going to have to update or fix when they buy this house. And if that list keeps getting longer, that's going to probably deter them from buying that house. So if you've got, some trim or some carpet, you can fix those things up. Make sure all the light bulbs are replaced, all the light fixtures and the switches and plugs and all that kind of stuff. Those little things that you can fix up fairly easy, do that. Shorten that list of all those things that buyer is worried about having to do. The smaller it is, the more likely you're going to get that house sold. Number 17, buyers, have your financing ready to go. So go in, talk with your mortgage broker first or your bank first. Get all those details done. The last thing you want is you're in the middle of writing an offer and all of a sudden you have an old outstanding bill you forgot to pay that's holding you back from buying that house. If you can get all that stuff done ahead of time, it's gonna make you feel more confident when you're looking through houses. You're gonna know you can afford it. You know you've got all your financing in order. You just have to write that offer, it's the right house. So get that done ahead of time. It's gonna save a lot of stress and frustration later on. Number 18, again, this is for buyers. Have a list. You're gonna have a list of wants and needs, and this is gonna morph over time. It's gonna change, I guarantee you. Don't be worried about that. But have a list of things that are very important that you have to have in a house. When you're going through these houses, reference back to that. Does it fit my needs here? It's easy to get distracted by that beautiful kitchen and then not realize the rest of the house doesn't really fit what you were looking for in a house. So have that ready to go and make changes and notes as you see things and you look at more houses and go, I thought I wanted this, but maybe it's not as important now. Number 19, This goes for both sellers, buyers, and real estate agents. Set the expectations early. When you have that initial meeting with your agent, talk with them about how often you want to be communicated with. How do you want that agent to communicate with you? What are the expectations, whether you're buying or selling? Set those out ahead of time and hold everybody accountable to that. That's going to help alleviate some of the stress and the frustrations that happen later on when people have different expectations of each other. Set those out in the very first meeting. Number 20, last tip, be prepared for the unexpected. Every single deal I can say I've been a part of, I pretty much guarantee you there's been something that's come up at some point that's thrown a wrench in everything and we've had to scramble to fix things. It happens, it's going to happen where something goes a little bit sideways and you've got to then go about, do a change of course, got to follow up on something or change of plans. That's going to happen. So be prepared that something unexpected is going to happen. Again, going back to don't stress out, don't get frustrated, and build that team around you because they're going to help solve those problems with the least amount of stress for you. That's it, guys. That's my top 20 list of tips for buying and selling real estate in the year 2020. Have a great year, everybody.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe here. If you've got great dad jokes, put them in the comments below. And if you don't watch more videos, you can click on some more videos.